Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and to another nail video. In today's video I am making this super cute set of winter polar bear nails, so if you want to see how I did it then keep on watching. So I am starting with my prep all done, and on the nails I have base coat right now, and then I'm going to go in with my base colours. I'm going to do 2 coats of each of the different base colours, and I will pop up on screen the inspiration for this set right now. So this is the plan for today's set of nails. We've got a couple of French tips, a couple of fully blue nails, and then the little polar bear one. So I'm going in with a nude base on the thumb, index and ring finger, and a blue base on the other fingers. And I'm also going to put on screen a little close-up of the inspo for this set, because this image, I saw this set on Pinterest and this is what inspired the whole set. I think it looks so cute and I knew I had to do something similar. If you are the original creator, or you know who the original creator is, please let me know in the comments, because I couldn't find it on Pinterest and I did try and reverse image search but nothing was coming up. And I love this inspo so much that I would like to be able to credit the original creator if you know who that is, because yeah, the whole set that I'm doing today is basically based around that inspo. Also, this set of press-on nails are the first winter nails that I have ever done, and I was so excited to make them. This is a set for myself, and I have a feeling that it's going to be one of many winter or Christmas related sets of nails that I make myself, because I've seen so many cool inspo sets for this year and I need to get around to making some more. So once I had done 2 coats of all of my base colours, I'm putting some of that blue shade that I used on a little palette, because I'm going to go and start doing the French tips. And thankfully, because I am going to put a sweater design on top of these later on, they don't need to be perfect. I think French tip nails are still the thing that I struggle with the most, especially getting them even and getting them matching up across different nails. If you want to learn how to do French tip nails, there are definitely better people to learn from than me, because as you can probably tell, I just kind of go in and wing it. My French tip nails are pretty much freehand, and I basically just draw on the smile line, fill in the nail, and then try and even up as best that I can. So I definitely still need a lot of practice at French tip nails before they're perfect, but especially when I'm making a set for myself, I think they end up looking fine. They're not too bad, and they're definitely not as wonky as they used to be, but yeah, they're nowhere near perfect yet either. But like I said, especially because I'm going to put a sweater design over the top of these French tip nails, they don't need to be perfect, so I'm just going to try and get them to be as even as I can, and that's totally fine by me. This white French tip was so much easier to do than the blue one, because this white gel that I'm using is an art gel and the blue is just a regular gel polish. The blue gel that I used was really pretty, but it was so runny and it made doing a French tip such a nightmare, so I'm glad there's not too many French tip nails on this set. So now it's time to go in with matte top coat. Because most of the nails on this set are going to be done with some acrylic to do like sweater designs and stuff, those are always the very last step of the nail, so you don't want to put any top coat over the top of that, even if it is matte, because then you're going to really end up losing like all of the dimension from that textured effect. So I am going in now and doing the matte top coat here before I go in with that effect with the acrylic and stuff. Some of the nail art on the ring finger is not getting acrylic on it, but the reason why I'm putting matte top coat on now is because it's going to give me a nice smooth surface to paint on, and then I'll go back in with matte before I do the acrylic for that step. So the first nail art design that I'm going to be working on for the set is the little polar bear, and I'm just starting by trying to roughly paint the sort of shape of the polar bear body. So I'm almost painting like the opposite of a smile line for a French tip, it's the opposite shape. And then I'm going to fill that in with a bigger brush just to save me some time, and then I do go back in with my liner brush and kind of adjust the shape until I'm happy with it. Once I'm happy with the polar bear body, I'm going to go in and add the ears with my dotting tool. And I did leave in the clips for both of the nails that I was doing with the polar bear, just because I think there are some parts of each of the nails that you can't really see what I'm doing. And I do think it's really difficult to explain what I'm actually doing in the video clips. So I thought I would show you it twice so that hopefully you can see what I'm doing, and if I've not explained myself very well, hopefully some of these clips explain what I'm doing. I don't know if you can tell, but this polar bear's ears are further away from the body, and I actually think I like how that looked better. So in future I would do the dots like this and just have them a little bit further away from the body. And then here I am just moving on to doing the little scarf for the polar bear. This is pretty simple. I just did a little curved line where I thought the scarf would go. I did go back in and thicken it up a little bit just so that it like actually stood out and didn't all blend in. And then I do go back in and add the little, I don't know what you would call it, like the little part of the scarf that hangs down. And I did on these nails make it so that the polar bear that's going to be on my left hand, his scarf hangs to the left, and the polar bear that's going to be on my right hand has the little bit on his scarf hanging down to the right, which is totally unnecessary, but I like doing little things like that. I did the same thing with the snowflakes so that the bigger snowflake is at the bottom on the left hand. I like to have the designs kind of match up like that for some weird reason. So then to finish off all of the nail art on this nail that is not going to get acrylic on it, I am doing the little polar bear face, and this one I have left in a couple of clips of too because this bit was out of focus, but I just made a couple of dots for the eyes with my dotting tool, and then I'm taking a little bit of black gel on the end of my brush and really gently placing that onto the nail to do the nose of the polar bear. And I am going back in with basically no gel on my brush just to try and make that shape into a little bit more of a triangle shape for the polar bear nose. I think you can see a little bit better in this next clip when I do that for the second nail. It's really frustrating watching back these clips when some of it is out of focus because it was in focus when I looked at the camera right before I did it, and I don't know why, but sometimes the camera just goes out of focus like 2 seconds after I check, and it's so frustrating, but hopefully you can see in this clip what I mean. Once I had done that on both of the nails, I'm just going to wipe over them to make sure that none of that black pigment transfers, because I'm going to go over both of those nails with some matte top coat. So from here in, all of the nail art that I'm going to do includes acrylic, so for sweater designs, or I guess you would call it sugaring, but I think that usually uses glitter. All of the different nail art designs that I'm going to do are going to get acrylic sprinkled on them, and they're going to be textured. And I am starting with doing a little star on this polar bear nail and then some dots to add some snow. I love doing these little 4-pointed stars because they're so simple. You just need to do a little dot with your dotting tool and then take a clean brush and drag the gel out from that, and it is so easy. So before I put the nail in the lamp, I'm going to sprinkle the acrylic over it, just making sure that none of the gel still looks shiny underneath, because that means that it can absorb more acrylic. And then I'm going to double cure that, so I will cure for 120 seconds just to make sure that the gel is definitely cured. Because you've put that acrylic on it and stuff, I just like to double cure. And then I did forget to show you me getting rid of all the acrylic off the nail before I moved on to the next step, but I will show you in a second. Here I'm just going in and painting the little stripes on the polar bear scarf, and you could definitely do all of this nail art at once. I actually did that on the other nail that I didn't film, but if you're worried about doing your nail art all in one go and you want to do it bit by bit, then you can definitely do that. Just make sure that whenever you're happy with your design, you sprinkle the acrylic on it and then put it in the lamp and cure, and then use a little scrubby brush like this to get rid of all that excess acrylic before you go in and do any more nail art on that nail. And then I was just giving this nail a little check to see how it turned out, and I was pretty happy with it, so I am going to move on and do one of the snowflake nails next. So this is the inspo for the snowflake nails, and this is going to be kind of hard for me to explain what I'm doing, but I am starting by taking my dotting tool and making a dot in the centre where I want the centre of the snowflake to be, and then I'm going to do 2 dots above that, 2 dots below it, 2 dots to the left and 2 dots to the right, and then I'm going to do 4 dots diagonally from the centre of that nail as well. Hopefully you can see what I mean, because I do not know how to explain that. And then I'm taking my clean liner brush, you don't need to put any extra product on that, and I'm just going to drag that gel really gently from the centre of the snowflake out through all of those dots that we've made, and that should make the horizontal and vertical lines a little bit longer than the diagonal ones, because I'm just dragging it up through to that dot and then stopping. This is pretty similar to the little 4-pointed star that I did earlier, but it is a lot harder because of how many dots there are, because you need to have the dots lined up or your snowflake is going to look a little bit wonky, which I learned. This is actually the first time that I've ever done the snowflakes like this, but I've watched so many people do it and I've been wanting to make them actually since last year. So I'm glad I finally got to try out some snowflakes for this set. I don't think that they turned out too bad for my first attempt. This snowflake that I'm doing right now is kind of a half snowflake because there wasn't enough room on the nail to do them, to do a full one. Like, I did kind of make these a bit big, but I think I actually like the way that it looks when it's kind of cut off a little bit. I don't know. So once I'm happy with how the snowflake is looking, I'm going to go back in with acrylic, same as before, making sure that I've got all of that snowflake design covered and that there's no bits of the nail that are still shiny, and I'm going to put that in the lamp for a double cure, so 120 seconds. And then when the nail comes out of the lamp, I'm going to use my little scrubbing brush to make sure that I've definitely got all of that acrylic off and just make sure that I am happy with that nail before I move on to the next design. So next I'm going to do the white sweater French tip, and I'm doing both of the French tip nails with the same sweater pattern. So I'm just starting in the centre with the typical little cable knit sweater pattern design, and then on either side of that little pattern I'm going to do a straight line. Then I'm going to take my dotting tool and I'm going to do 3 little dots on either side of those lines, and then go back in and do another line on the side of those dots, and finish up the sweater design by doing a little horizontal line on the sides. I really hope that at least some of that made sense, because it's actually so difficult to try and explain what I'm doing. I'm going to do the exact same pattern on the thumbnail in a second, so you will see me do it again, and hopefully if I haven't explained it very well you can at least see what I'm doing. Oh, so here I am actually mixing some clear acrylic with my blue gel polish. Like I mentioned earlier, this blue polish was so runny, and someone had actually left a comment on my sweater nails video that I did a little while ago saying that you can mix some clear acrylic with your gel polish. I did end up adding way too much acrylic to the little amount of gel polish that I had on my palette, so I did add some more gel and found a consistency that seemed to be okay. But this little hack seemed to work pretty well. It made the gel polish a lot easier to work with, and because I wanted it to be the exact same shade on the base and on the sweater design, I think adding the acrylic to the gel polish just made it a much easier consistency to work with. You do still have to sprinkle the acrylic over the top too, but I did find that I needed a bit less of it, I think because the gel doesn't have as much acrylic to absorb. It worked really well for me anyway, so I did the same thing on the last nail, which is the pinky, and that one is just a full sweater nail. For this nail I did it a little bit different to the other 2 that were the French sweater nails. I did the usual like cable knit kind of pattern in the centre of the nail, and then I did do the same line on either side of that, but because the pinky nail is so narrow and there isn't enough space to do like the exact same design, instead of trying to do dots up the side of the nail, I just did the 2 lines like I'm doing now, and then I did some little horizontal or little diagonal lines even. And I think it still turned out pretty cute. I went in with the acrylic like usual, double cured it, scrubbed it all off, and because the nails already had their matte top coat before I went in with the sweater stage, and the sweater stage is the last part of doing the nails, as soon as I've done this and it's come out the lamp and been all cured, that is it done. I don't need to do anything else for these nails, so here are the finished set of nails. I'm honestly so happy with them, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you would wear this set of nails. Thank you so much if you're still here at the end of this video. You are the best. Please give the video a like if you have enjoyed it, because it really helps out my channel. Remember to subscribe if you want to see more nail content like this, and other than that I hope you have a great rest of your day and I will see you next time. Bye!